Hello, and thank you once again for watching. This is Robin from City Sewing Machine Corp in New York, www.citysewing.com. This time we're going to show you the correct way of threading the setup machine or the waistband machine or the high post machine, whichever way they want to call it. Some consumers, they call it high post because it's higher. They call it a setup, and they call it waistband because this is the one they used to put the sweatband inside the hat. This is one of my customers, one of my best customer machine that came in for service because they said that the machine was skipping stitches and was breaking the thread all the time. And the reason why, I want to show you why, this is the needle plate that came with this machine. As you can see here, the needle plate, it's completely broken. Once your needle plate is like this, the machine is not going to give you a good stitch no matter how good you thread it. The stitch is always going to be bad. This is the needle plate we're actually going to be using instead. This is an overhaul needle plate. I just changed it, and I'm going to set up this needle plate into the machine now. And then I already did also a little bit of a settings this and there to make sure the machine is nice and free. So everything is good now. Now I'm going to proceed and add the needle plate I had just built for this machine. I'm going to install it, just slide it through. I use my regular needle plate screwed. I just attach the new needle plate into the machine. So now I'm going to proceed and thread the machine the correct way, how it is supposed to be threaded correctly. I am going to take my thread, and in here, this is the main arm on the machine. This is the main arm. This is the one that brings the needle bow up and down. Takes the needle and move it up and down. It's very important, this part here. So what you're going to do, you're going to take your thread and thread this arm. It has a hole right in the center. As you can see, the thread comes right through it. It's very important. This is very, very important. Okay? This is important. Now, from there, I'm going to thread the machine into the tension set. On the tension set, you have an eyelet in the front and an eyelet in the back. Both of these eyelets has a threading hole in the front and a threading hole in the back. So I'm going to work with my front threading left to right, like you see here. Then the second one also left to right. Once I do that, I make sure my thread is in between the two tension discs. It's important. If you don't have it into the two tension discs here, your machine is not going to be working perfect. After that, right here now, I am going to thread my second eyelet, also from left to back, and the next eyelet also left to right, making sure my thread is inside the disc. Very, very important, okay? This is it. So we already did the second eyelet. Now we're going to do the second eyelet. From here, we're going to turn the machine around. Once you turn the machine down, you have your thread here. You want to make sure your thread, it's underneath the thread that comes from the thread stand, okay, underneath of it. After that, right here we have an eyelet in front of the needle bar, just before the needle bar. You're going to take the thread this eyelet, and then right next to it you have your needle bar. You want to thread your needle bar. It has a hole right on the top of it. So when you're stitching, this is what you want it to see. You want your tension thread straight into the eyelet before the needle board. From there, you're gonna go into the top of the needle board. You have a hole. You're gonna be threaded like that. So you want your thread to be underneath of the thread that comes from the thread stand. Once we have that done ready, you can see how the needle goes up and down. Now we're going to take the thread and thread the tension spring right in the front of the machine. You have a little spring, you're going to thread it. You have a small eyelet just before the needle right here. Thread that one. Okay. Now we're going to take the needle and thread the needle left to right. Remember, it has to be thread left to right. Always left to right only. No other way. Only left to right. Once I have that, I check my thread. Main arm of the machine. Tension inside the disc to the back. Tension inside the disc. Thread. Eyelet before the needle board. Eyelet on the needle board, tension spring, and eyelet. Then I thread the needle. Now I'm going to take my belt, put it on the machine, so I'm going to test the stitch on it. Make sure I tighten my belt. Let me tighten the machine to the frame for testing. Once I have tied up the machine, I have my threading. I'm going to turn this power motor on. Before I give it a speed, I put power in it. I want to make sure that my motor is running away from me. When I turn it on, I press on the foot control. I want to make sure the motor is going away from me. Take my material, just put it underneath of the needle. Bring the foot part down. I'm going to proceed. Stitch by hand first. Make sure everything is good. Now, if you see in the back, your stitch should look like this. No skipping, nice and clean. The stitch should be nice and clean. See, I could go around, around, and around, and the stitch is supposed to look like this. Nice and tight. No skip, no breaking. Remember, the reason why this machine was breaking so much thread, it's because the needle plate I show you was broken. This is the hard part of the heart of the machine. If this part doesn't work, if this part is broken, you're always going to have skipping, stitching, and especially breaking a lot of thread. Okay, so there you go. Perfect stitch all the time. Okay, so once again, this is Robin from City Sewing. I hope this has been helpful for you. Thank you for watching, and remember, always visit us on the web at www.citysewing.com. You can also see all the threadings on the other machines at YouTube at City Sewing. Alright, once again, thank you for watching, and this is Robin from City Sewing. Bye bye.